to hear that.
Wow, yeah, new intro.
First
wow,
one.
look at you
It's
moving
kinda
up in the
weird,
world.
you know? I don't know. You know how it is. I can't think of. Don't we have somebody better to do that voice than me?
Well, that's what I said when you gave me a bill for $1,500 for it.
Needless to say, it's a Doug Hopkins.
I'll do the intro.
I know.
Yeah.
I didn't see the check for
I
15.
didn't realize he was going to bill me for it.
Yeah, it's free advertising.
I guess that's the way it works. Doug Hopkins Flipping Real Estate Radio Show brought to you by the Doug Hopkins team, powered by the good folks at My Home Group. Also by Mortgage Tree Lending. Call Kevin anytime, 480-560-5555 for all of your financing hookups and needs. And of course, Doug, you can reach him at either DougHopkins.com or reach the team at 1-800-SELL-NOW.
That's it. That's it.
Duh.
What's going on, man?
Hey, it's
Well,
nice and cool out, right?
It's beautiful. Absolutely awesome. This whole weekend looks like it's going to stay nice. So I'm excited.
It's perfect pickleball weather.
Oh, God, you and your pickleball.
You know, I've had a membership at Mesa Country Club for 15, almost 16 years now.
Yeah, quite a while.
And I get out there. I am their perfect guest. Perfect
You pay
member.
money and don't show up?
I maybe play there 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
And so on Wednesday, I'm like, you know what? I have a light day. I'm going to go play in the morning. And so I go to call, and they have a tournament, and I can't play. I'm like, the one time I was going to go this year, first time this year, and
Well, as your guest, can I play in they have brand new pickleball courts there.
they do have brand new big. They have. I do go there a lot for food. They have really
The food
good
is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
we
hear
were just
Kevin?
there.
He was so excited. He goes, "I'm weeks away from being in the 55 and older crew, and I can beat all those guys so bad."
I definitely have a leg up on some of the older fellas. So, yeah, hopefully, 20 days.
Dude, look at that.
Beat 'em.
Why don't you just go see if you can sign up on a girls' league too? Maybe you could smash.
They don't
that.
allow that anymore.
apparently. Only in Maine.
Only in Maine, yeah.
So, Doug, dude, speaking of superhero type things, you saving people.
So there's a reason that they had a tournament, not a good in golf, because
Yeah.
that was on Wednesday as well. I got called in, same day appointment to a house in Santana Valley. And I went out there, and really nice older lady. She was selling her house. House was beautiful on the golf course out there. And we started talking about it, talking numbers and everything. And then I get into, like, why are you selling?
Yeah.
And she said, well, it's exciting. I won the Publishers Clearing Sweepstakes.
The Publisher Clearinghouse thing. Ed McMahon shows
They
up at
still
your
have
house.
that? Actually, Ed McMahon never did that.
No?
That's part of the Mandela effect. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Part of the what?
Look it up. Google it. We'll
Ed
do it at
McMahon never showed up to
Nope.
anybody's house?
He never did.
He did the commercials.
Yeah.
That I know. I saw him on the commercials.
I swear I saw him too.
I swear to. I swear to it. But we'll look it up on
Did
the.
they have AI back then too, Kevin?
Oh,
Did they
you'll
have a
see.
fake? Yeah.
So go ahead. What
Ed
happened?
McMahon.
So she said she won it.
So I'm sitting there, and she's like, I won $7.8 million plus a new Mercedes. And I said, oh, wow, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And she's like, but I have to pay the taxes first. And so I've been paying taxes on this for a while now. But if I don't pay them, soon, the money's going to go away. And so I said, ma'am, you're getting scammed. I hate to tell you this, but I spent an hour and a half with her. Sweetest, nicest older lady, 82 years old, just a beautiful lady, just a sweetheart of a lady. And I said, hey, you're getting scammed. And she's like, I thought something maybe not right with this. And I'm like, yeah, it's for sure not right. She's having her water turned off. It was supposed to be turned off like in 2 days.
Oh, jeez.
And I said, ma'am, I need to talk. I go, do you have family here? She goes, well, my son lives here. And I go, I need to talk to him right now. And she said, well, I don't know about that. I don't think I want him to know what's going on. And I said, ma'am, I really need to talk to your son.
Yeah.
I go, I'm looking out for you. I'm looking out for your best interests. I really need to talk to your son. Can you please give me his phone number right now? I'll put it on speakerphone.
Yeah. I'll talk to him right here in front of you, so that you. Yeah. So what happened?
And so I called him up.
Did you get a hold of him?
And I did. He answered on the second ring, which just normally doesn't happen, right? I'm
Right.
going to have to leave him a message. But he answered, and I said, hello, and I won't say his name, but I said, I'm sitting here with your mother. She called me to come over and buy her house. and she's selling because she claims that she won a $7.8 million sweepstakes, and she's been paying the taxes on it for some time. She doesn't know how much, but it's been a significant amount of money, enough so that she doesn't have money to pay her water bill.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid these scammers are just going to continue to do it. And, I just wanted you to know and be aware of what's going on. And he goes, who is this? And I said, my name is Doug Hopkins. And he goes, Doug Hopkins?
The guy from TV.
He goes, I'm a realtor with HomeSmart.
No
way. We've done deals together.
Oh my God! Whoa.
Holy moly! He had no clue.
Small world. He had no idea what was going on.
Oh wow!
And so anyway, we had a nice conversation, and I'm like, listen, I'm just concerned that you had other companies come out here. I said, Miss So and So, have you had talked to anybody else? And she said, yes, and I got an offer for this, and he's in the background going, Mom, what are you doing?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
I'm like, okay, you didn't sign anything, right? She goes, no, I didn't sign anything. I said, okay. So anyway, it turns out they met, and he's taking over now, and they're fixing everything. But for all the
did they
the
put in
people out
police
there,
reports and stuff? I mean, do you do any of that?
for all the people out there, just please be careful. There's so many scam artists that are going, and all different ones. This is the second one in 3 months. These guys are on the phones, they're on the internet, they're texting, they're calling, they're emailing, they're doing all this stuff, and there's so many. They try to get me with a one that was worn out for my arrest for missing jury duty.
Yeah,
that one gave me a little.
Because you always ignore it, right?
I don't ignore it, but what they do, they're so good.
They are good.
They said I'm like, there's no way. And they said, well, it was delivered to this address. And I go online and I pull up the address. It's my ex-wife's house.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sitting there like, maybe they did try to serve me there, and they served my ex-wife thinking I was there. And so thankfully, my brother-in-law is a cop, and I called him up, and he goes, it's a scam. I go, well, can you please just check and make sure it's not worn out for my arrest for missing jury duty? And he's like, yeah. And so he checked, and he's like, yeah, you're good, Doug.
Dude, they don't put warrants out for that, do they?
They don't.
I'm
I don't
sure.
think they do. They try to scare you with that. But we had Ashley in our office here. They called her dad, and they sounded like her. They got her voice from AI or whatever, and they called and said, "Dad, I need some help. I need some money right now." So he's freaking out. He calls her and he goes, "Ashley, what's going on? Is this what's?" And she's like, "I'm fine, Dad. Everything's fine." He's like, "As I'm talking to you now, that's exactly how they sound." So it sounded just like her. So if you even get a call and you think it's a person and they sound like it, always hang up and just call back. Just make sure.
Yeah,
because
it's unbelievable. I said the other day,
it's scary.
A friend of mine's Facebook, somebody hacked their Facebook, and then they
that
went
sounds
online.
familiar.
Yes, I mean it's happened to many people. But check this out: they actually went online and said, "This was a lady that I know from school," and she said that the post said, "I had to put Dad into a home. He has a bunch of stuff from the house. We're selling everything," and it was literally a laundry list of everything, just that they were letting go of. I called her, to tell her I'm sorry about your dad going into the home. She said, "Chris, it's a scam. Somebody took over. I've had a ton of people, and their thing is, I'm traveling. Send me a deposit. I'll hold the item for you." And so they're just trying to get you to just
send some money. Wow.
Fishing for anything. And then I'm just pulled up in the course of the time that we were talking about this. Arrest made in large-scale financial scam that swindled thousands from elderly victim. Another article, East Hartford woman charged in lottery scam targeting seniors. Another article says man pleads guilty to role in scam targeting senior citizens. They're going after old people like 100%.
Crazy. And the in common with the two people that I've met with in the last 3 months that have been scammed, both of them lost their husbands 2 years ago.
Oof.
So I don't know if they're hunting the obituaries and then trying to reach out to them because they know they're lonely and
might not have somebody there.
Yeah. They're vulnerable. It's just there's scum. Just I want to use harsher words, but I can't on the radio. But they are scum. They are absolute
take advantage
scum.
of elderly people like that.
Gross.
It's just awful.
Just gross.
It's just horrible, and they're getting better and better at it. That's the problem. It's like they'll keep trying to figure, okay, this didn't work, and then they try something else, and it's a numbers game, right? They'll call 100 people, and if 2 or 3 they snag them, it's worth it. So they just keep doing it. I mean, that other scam where you got the text about paying the that you owed for tolls.
Yes.
See that? And they
I'm
put out
getting a text for that every day.
I know. They put out a statement like, there are no tolls in Arizona.
Right.
Don't worry.
Thank God we're here, though, because if you live back east, you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. And you think, because they have those signs that say if you don't pay your toll, they're going to come kill you. But yeah, I mean.
I don't know if they're going to do that.
Technically, they don't say kill you, but yes.
Well,
I don't know where we live in. Last time I checked, we're still the United States of America.
Well, we'll see. Report you back to El Salvador.
Really serious.
But yeah, so I just feel like people got to be vigilant and let them know, and just always try to make that call, because if they're saying they're your spouse or your kids or something,
And just have those conversations. Every time I hear something like this, I have a conversation with my parents.
yeah,
Just saying, hey, this is what's out there. This is what's going on. They're getting slammed every day. Like my mom gets probably 30 spam calls a day. And, we teach her how to block it, and she forgets, because you can block those numbers.
yeah.
But she forgets sometimes. And,
Wow.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah, it's a good time, though. You always got to take these opportunities to let them know.
Yeah.
Coming back, more of the Doug Hopkins.
He didn't work for a publisher's clearinghouse. He worked for something different, but I swear I would see the envelope that
It
said
was American Family Publishers.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's where you're getting confused, man.
So he gave out checks, big-ass checks, just not from Publishers Clearinghouse specifically. So you
just
made
a
it sound like it was a
company-
way big conspiracy theory.
I thought it
Like
was
we didn't know what we were
huge.
talking about.
Well, I swear I saw him on Publishers
Don't swear,
Clearinghouse.
Kevin, because you've already been proved wrong.
Yeah. Don't dig the whole
I
people,
promise.
buddy.
I thought that, yeah. But the fact is they just copied what publishers. I see.
Yeah.
what they did.
So same thing though. So Ed McMahon was handing out checks to people, knocking on your door like a weirdo, just like Doug. You and Ed McMahon have a lot in common, dude.
They expect they don't come in, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's not a surprise. Huh?
Actually, they don't. Most people are very surprised when it's me that shows up at the door.
I found
I
out.
get that all the time.
Yeah, people are blown away when they see that it's you.
Yeah, I get it all the time.
Do they ask for an autograph or anything?
What?
Crazy?
Why are you out here? Like, don't you have people for that?
Don't you have somebody better to do this than you, Doug?
Shouldn't you be in your office, like signing checks and stuff?
Shouldn't you be on vacation somewhere?
Yeah.
No.
Clear blue water.
I do this because I absolutely love it. That's why I do it. I absolutely love what I do. I love going out and meeting people. I love looking at houses. I love solving problems. I love that lady. I sat with her for an hour and a half, making sure that she didn't get harmed. That is the stuff I live for. That is my purpose. And I had to learn what my purpose was after my kids were gone and grown and successful and married. I had to figure out my own purpose was to be there for my family, make sure that I was able to be the best father I could and provider that I could. And then all of a sudden, they all have their own lives, and I kind of lost my purpose. And I realized that my purpose is making this company as good as it can be to help as many people that work here for my company, and also that we can help in out in the field and ultimately get as clients and friends. I still talk to a lot of the people. We text a lot, and I have phone calls with a lot of the people I bought their house from.
I wonder what it'll be like once the kids are out. I imagine that's something that a lot of folks go through.
Yeah, the empty nest.
It is a thing. Well, I can tell you this: when my daughter moved out, my last daughter, when she moved out of the house, a couple of years ago, I remember being depressed. I remember really like looking and going, "What now?" Like the house is
you got a
coming
big
home
house and nobody's home. And
no. Thank God for Joy and the dogs.
somebody's excited to see that garage door open.
Now when I come in, I'm like, hey, I'm yelling at the dogs. Hey, I'm home.
I'm home. Get over here. Let's have some fun.
Give me some love, people, or doggies. Yeah,
That's crazy.
Well, the fact that you're in the trenches too, like when other people go out and they're like, "Oh, Doug, here's the markets, this or that," you can say, "Hey, I'm out there with you." You're actually out there talking to people, seeing what's happening on that level, which a lot of people don't do. A lot of the people, they get a certain level and then they just don't do it. And I'm like you. I miss the old days where you actually sat down with people when you did loans.
Across the table, have all your stuff.
Yeah, and I'm happy to meet with people, but in most cases, everything's done by computer, and there's most clients you never actually get to see face to face.
Anyone over 70, you're sitting down with them.
Yeah, most that's true. And I
Is there an age that's very specific?
Yeah, actually, 75 and above.
Yeah.
It is difficult to take to get me their documentation. I did tell this one person to take a picture of all their documents. They put them all on a desk table and took a picture like 10 feet away.
And then that way you zoomed in to figure out.
Right. It didn't work, but
I'll be over there in 10 minutes.
Yeah. So I have them come in the office, and I do enjoy that. And and they come in, I tell them they won the Publishers Clearinghouse.
Exactly.
But no, I think they appreciate that too. They want to see who they're doing business with. They want to see what's going on, and there's so much to body language and everything. That's why I love what you guys do, is you actually meet with people, where there's a lot of these guys that they're also
They
scammers.
do it virtually,
Yeah, they'll go out and tie up these houses for next to nothing, and if they can't sell them, then they just leave the sellers high and dry. And that's what they do. They actually go in there, they take pictures, they give an offer, it's all legit. Whereas if you don't have a person coming out there checking out your house, they're just scammers. They're just throwing stuff out there, throwing numbers against the wall, and most of the time it doesn't work out.
Do you ever notice that, like, since you guys go out and do all that work, that it's kind of you've invested time in it? Kind of shows them, look, we're for real. We're not just going to call you and, oh, look, it took me 5 minutes to throw an offer your way. You're there for a half an hour, walking a property, talking to people, figuring out what's the deal. I mean, it shows that you're vested in doing the deal.
Absolutely. I went to a house, for instance. I went to a house last Tuesday, and I was talking to a gentleman that was out there, and the house needed a bunch of work. But it was a nice house, just needed a bunch of work. Hadn't been lived in a while, and needed a kitchen, flooring, paint, all new fixtures, bathrooms needed to be updated, that sort of stuff. And so I said, my offer is $225,000. And after going through all the figures and everything, and he said, "Oh, thank you for coming. That's way too low." And I said, "Okay, no problem. I get it's not for anybody." I'm like, "So what's your plan?" So, well, I'm gonna fix it up and put it on the market for $320. And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, we just went through the numbers, and you're going to do the same thing that I said I was going to do?" He's like, "Yeah, probably." And I said, "Okay." I said, but I have some friends, and I'm not going to do all the things, but I'll probably put $35,000 in the house.
Yeah.
I said, "Okay." So you're going to put it up for $320. And, if you get a full price offer, you're going to have to pay commissions. You're going to have to pay closing costs. We're just reverse engineering this.
Yeah.
Make sure we're talking about apples to apples here.
Yeah.
And, and then most people now, because interest rates are higher, asking for 2 or 3% to buy down the rates.
Yeah, the 2-1 buy down. Kevin talks about that all the time.
And so then they're going to have an inspection. And I would imagine that, in a house that hasn't been lived in a while and is going to have some issues, and it's an older home. So
you could
there's
get
probably going
roof.
to be some plumbing. There'll probably be some electrical, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, at the end of the day, it came down to about $250. And I said, "So your way, it sounds higher, at $320,000, but if everything goes perfectly, you're at $250. I'm at $225, which is basically my profit."
Mm-hmm.
And I go, "You can make more money listing it on the open market, but if you want certainty and convenience, I'm your guy." And I go, that $20,000 can turn into, who knows, how long is it going to take? 3 months? Okay, so it'll take 3 months. What could happen? And that's the middle of the summer. That's when everything stops selling. It doesn't have the spring bounce or whatever. And so now you're going to have, who knows if the market stays where it's at. You're also going to have all the holding costs for the next 3, 4, 5 months.
Keep the property moving.
All the electrical.
And since you're getting it at a discount, you're not going to have it done in a timely fashion. I'm sorry.
No, and you're going to have all the electrical. You're going to have all the 8 SRP bills. You're going to have all the water bills. You're going to have the payment. I go, that $20,000 could turn into 10 in a hurry. And it could even turn into the same amount of money with all the hassle, as opposed to you can leave all the stuff in there. You can take whatever you want to take, sell whatever you want to sell, leave behind whatever you want to leave behind. I'm buying it as is. This could be off your plate in 2 weeks, and you don't have to worry about a thing, and you got your money. Or you could potentially fix it up and maybe get $20,000 more, maybe 6 months from now.
Maybe.
Maybe.
And that's a big maybe.
Yep. So he said, "Okay." He goes, "You give me a lot to think about." 10 minutes later, he called me up and we made a deal.
Yeah.
From him almost kicking me out of the house.
Right. Thinking that you're lowballing an offer.
Hearing the number.
Yeah.
Hearing the number, to making him understand that my number is not, when you have say people look at Zillow, right? Mm-hmm. That house said $330,000.
Makes sense.
And I offered $225,000. And
seems way off.
You're out of your mind. You're trying to rip me off for $100,000.
Yep.
Well, no. Here's how I get to my number. You have all these selling costs. You have all this stuff. You're going to have to put $40,000 into the house. It needs a new roof. It needs a new air conditioning unit. Whatever it be. So all that stuff takes money. Mm-hmm. You can just because you put something on the market that says Zillow says it's that doesn't mean that you're going to get that.
No.
It means that there's like-kind houses with your same square footage and bedroom count and bathroom count in the area that average about that number. But that number is not the be-all, end-all. It doesn't mean that it's going to sell at that.
No. If it was that easy, you would literally be able to, I could take my house, go to Zillow, find out the number, and put it on. I wouldn't need a real estate agent.
Yeah,
It would be that easy. But every time you go down that road thinking that you know best, you're going to lose money. And it's happened to me a ton of times. I was like, oh, you know what? We'll sell the car instead of selling it to the dealership. And then by the time that you let it sit there and you paid for the insurance for a couple of months, and then you found out, oh, you know what? The battery's dead now because I didn't run it the way it's supposed to. Another couple $100 there, another couple $100 on the next thing. You just have to really take the time and consideration to all of the variables. And when you do, you're going to get more cash and more convenience having you buy the house.
There are certain homes that I literally tell people, do not sell this to me.
Yeah.
Do not sell this to me. Let's put it on the market and get you every last dollar. This was not one of those houses. I think they realized it and went for the convenience and certainty of the deal.
Well, more of the DougHopkins.com or reach the team at 1-800-SELL-NOW.
Yeah, you got these new intros, new outtakes, or what do they call it? The
intros and outros?
Outros? Is that what it's called?
Outros, yes.
Is it really an out? Is that a real word? Or you
I
just make it
swear,
up?
that's what we call them, is intros and outros to segments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, actually, we call them donuts, too. So where you have a sound on the end of both sides, and then there's a hole in the middle.
Okay.
So there we go.
That would make sense. You named my Apple TV Doug's Donuts.
Yes, there's a whole, that's when you saw that, you're probably like, what the heck is that?
That was like 6 years ago, and now I know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
That's the donuts that we use when we do the show here. So incredible. Yeah. So, dude, I was reading a story, and you've actually run across some of this stuff before. I thought it was kind of interesting. Celebrity home mansion where Brittany Murphy died and Britney Spears was attacked by bad spirits returns to the market in LA for like $2 million less than it originally hit the market for.
I have no idea what the story is. What
really?
Yeah.
Brittany Murphy was a famous actress, and she actually
did she got attacked by spirits?
No, Britney Spears got attacked by spirits. Brittany Murphy was a person who died of an overdose. She was very famous. She was
Britney Spears. I don't know if she got attacked by spirits or
God only knows with that one. We're not sure if the spirits or if it's her. But Brittany Murphy died in this mansion, and it actually was something that Britney Spears, a couple of years earlier, she was in the mansion. She felt like bad spirits were attacking her. She left the mansion and never returned again. Brittany Murphy bought it a few years later and ended up dying of an overdose in the mansion. And I believe her husband died as well in the same mansion.
Did she talk about spirits too?
She didn't say anything about the spirits, but nobody quite understood what it was that caused this to happen, other than that she was just going crazy.
Is spirits another word for fentanyl?
It could have been.
I mean,
well, Brittany said that the experience of bad spirits was so bad it left her shaken. She refused to ever return, and the home's morbid history hasn't had an impact on its ability to find a buyer. It's bounced on and off the market multiple times since initially being listed in July of 24 with an asking price of $18.99 million.
We joke about this, but you remember we had a friend who went into a house and he doesn't believe in ghosts. He thinks everybody's crazy that sees ghosts, and he saw one in the basement, Jeff. And
another one that is a little questionable.
Well, we won't get into his psycho.
The reason we don't hang out with him anymore.
Let's talk. Listen, the point is
we got
that,
a story.
Yeah.
We just don't know if that story was correct or not.
They made a movie, Amityville Horror. I mean, do you believe that there's entities in?
I do.
Oh,
I do believe in that.
Really?
I got to witness, but you only know stuff from your own personal history, right?
Mm-hmm.
I bought a house.
Do you have a personal history?
I do. There was one the ghost story. I bought a house. They had a whole. I think I told that story not too long ago on the show.
I think I remember you saying something about a ghost house, something like you heard noises somewhere.
Yeah, there was like someone running upstairs.
Yes,
and there was like
nobody
the
there.
People that were there dealt with what's that called? Voodoo, and they had like
Oh, jeez.
lamb bones and stuff,
Chicken bones and
like
weird
all sorts of
animal
crosses
stuff
and weird things. And then I heard somebody running upstairs and the house was completely vacant and there was nobody up there. Checked every closet. And then I went back down and I heard someone running upstairs again. And then I'm like, I'm out of here, and sold the house immediately. Immediately.
You got rid of it to somebody else?
Oh, yeah. I just wholesaled it. I said, who wants
That's
this
it?
house? And I sold it for like a couple grand over I bought it for, because I didn't want to deal with it.
Hey, in Arizona real estate, do you required to disclose if you
I
think
100% disclosed it.
You did.
Yeah, they said I was absolutely crazy, and I never heard anything back from her. So
Really?
maybe
I mean,
I was.
are you
Maybe I was.
quiet?
I don't know, but I can tell you this: it was 100% real.
real? All right, do you ever are you required by law to disclose that if you think it's haunted or you've had an experience? Is that
I believe you are. Yeah, I'm
Really?
not positive on that, but I believe that you
Really?
have to.
Paranormal experience you have to put down on it?
you don't have to say that somebody died?
What's
unless
that
they
thing
ask,
called?
right?
The spids or
Spuds.
spuds?
Yeah,
Spuds.
yeah.
Yeah.
They don't
Property
ask that
disclosure
question though,
statements.
right?
Yeah, they do. I don't do much regular real estate anymore.
don't
but,
remember.
but I'm almost positive.
Have you
that,
seen a spirit?
Have you seen a spirit? Is it a nice spirit? Does it help you with your homework or does it hurt you?
Do you need the
can tell
Ouija
you,
board?
I have a crazy story. It's spiritual. It's not ghostly.
Okay.
Okay.
But and I think I haven't told this story in a long time. Back when I was a little kid, probably second grade or so, they had what's called the Policeman's Picnic in Bedford Hills, New York, at Bedford Hills Little League Field, and they had a camp. So we'd go down there, and every year they would raffle off a bike. So you'd get a hot dog, a soda, and a raffle ticket. Okay, and whoever got the winning raffle ticket won the bike. And so they paraded this bike in about a week before the picnic, and it was the most beautiful black, sleek banana seat bike I've ever seen.
wow.
It was unbelievable, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I've never seen a bike that awesome. I want that bike. I want that bike.
That's it.
And so it's like Tuesday night, the thing is on Friday. And I pray. I sit there and I'm praying to God, please, I want to win that bike. So then Wednesday comes around, and I'm looking at that bike and I go home and I'm literally crying myself to sleep. Please, God, please let me win that bike. If I win that bike, I'll never fight with my sister again.
Oh, you're lying to God now.
So then Thursday comes around. Please, God, please. If I do that, I'll always listen to whatever my parents say.
Oh, geez, you're adding more.
Digging that hole.
Friday morning comes and I wake up and I'm getting dressed and I'm ready to go to camp, and I sit there and I start crying again. Please, God, please. If I win that bike, I'll never fight with my sister again. I'll always do what my parents say, and I'll never wish for anything again. True story. Okay, I go to the picnic, and I'm just trying to figure out when to hop online. When is it? So I hop online. I'm like, this is it. And there was a guy named Matthew Hurley right in front of me. And I said, Matthew, change spots with me. He goes, why? I'm like, because I need to change spots. And he goes, no, I'm not changing spots with you. And he's like, I'm like, all right. And so I get there, I get my Coke,
Yeah.
I get my hot dog, I get my ticket.
Matthew won this.
And I'm sitting there, scarfed down my hot dog, got my Coke gone. And now it's just that everyone in the camp, they're on the microphone telling what it is. And they go 6, 7, 5, 3. And then they said 0 through 9. You guys all come up. So we all came up. And there's
wow.
me right next to Matthew Hurley. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I was number 5. He was number 4. And they said 5.
Oh, wow. Man.
And I got it. And I won that bike.
That is awesome.
And I've never been so happy in my life. And I get the bike, we go home. My mom will tell my mom I got it. I'm so excited. I'm driving the bike all around outside.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. My mom's like, Doug, get in here for dinner. I'm like, no, I'm driving my bike.
Not
So-
listening immediately.
so
You're
my-
breaking the rules.
So my sister's like, Doug, you need to get in. Mom said, I'm like, get out of here. I don't know. I start fighting with her.
with
So
her.
we're good. And then I think I did one more thing. I mean, literally, I was like, that worked, so maybe I'll wish for something else, Anyway, My mom finally screamed at me enough where I walked in. So I left the bike in the driveway, went up, ate dinner. My mom went to go to her bowling league, ran over the bike, and that was the end of the bike.
Wow, dude!
Wow. I am telling you right now. I looked up in the air. I'm like, oh boy, I'm in really big trouble. God's not fooling around.
No, he's not. So you had it for one day?
One day. Not even.
Oh,
a few hours of
from 3 to about 7.
And then, of course, your mom's mad at you, like, Douglas, why'd you leave the bike right here? I can just hear her now. Oh, my gosh.
She brought it back to the bike shop, and they fixed it. But that was a learning lesson for me. I'm like, okay, that's it.
Wow, dude. I'll tell you, that's definitely spiritual. I mean... Still paying for that one, huh? Speaking of spiritual stuff, dude, Val Kilmer this week. I couldn't believe about that.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Great actor.
Oh, man. And he's right in our wheelhouse of all the cool movies that we grew up with Tombstone and all that stuff.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Right? Yeah. Come on, man. So good.
I use that all the time. Man.
Yeah.
I'm your Huckleberry. Who wants to do this? I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah.
The Doors.
The Doors. Oh, man. He
great.
was Jim Morrison.
Yeah. He was.
That's just such a bummer.
It sucks.
Yeah. Too bad for him.
I know, dude. Makes you feel like you're getting old. That's for sure, too. Hey, check this out. I got this article that popped up here, and I was curious what your guys' thoughts on this. It kind of went down yesterday. Trump's Liberation Day tariff moves mean for home prices and mortgage rates. I did some digging and tried to find out some of the stuff on this because it was pretty big. I mean, the news has been this for the last couple of days since he announced it. The housing market for the new tariffs could mean higher construction costs for home builders. It says to the extent that they impact the imported materials used in home construction. This I thought was interesting, though. The National Association of Home Builders estimates that only 10% of the building materials used in residential construction are actually imported. So the amount of money that we're looking at possibly seeing added to the house for tariffs isn't going to be that much.
No, yeah, I'd say it's mostly flooring. You know, we get flooring from a lot of different countries, you know, the different rocks and stones and whatnot. So that's a big deal.
Even countertops, too?
I just think he's using it for leverage, right? He's saying it's been unfair all these years with other countries putting tariffs on ours. So he's using it, and then he backs off a little bit. It's almost like he's just showing them that, hey, we can do this, and it will hurt other countries. So I think it gives them leverage. I think the market's been bouncing up and down because he'll say he's going to do it, he imposes it, then the other countries relent, and then he's able to maybe lower the tariffs that they're on our goods. So I think
I've seen a lot of these financial people say on both sides of the aisle that this is something that we need to do to reset this playing field to make it even. Yeah. People are just not happy about it happening right now.
Well,
who's people?
Well, I see a lot of people talking about it. That's, it makes its way on the news.
The mainstream media.
They know best for us, Chris, for sure.
You got a point there. Coming back, more of the Doug Hopkins Flipping Real Estate Radio Show right here on KTAR. My home group, also by Mortgage Tree Lending. Call Kevin anytime at 480-560-5555 for your financing hookups. And of course, Doug, you can reach at 1-800-SELL-NOW, or you can always go online to DougHopkins.com, put in your address, and you get a cash offer just like that.
Yep.
Oh, good music in the background there. Yeah. I like that.
It's not bad.
Listen, if you don't like the new music, text Doug. Call Doug.
Doug.
I don't want my fans getting upset.
Doug at DougHopkins.com.
All right. So real quick here, I ran across this thing. I thought it was kind of interesting. Kevin, you can tell me why this is going on. It said the rise of the rich renter. New status symbol. It's a lease.
Yeah,
I don't know who says that.
All I know is the rappers always seem to lease stuff, and then it goes bad. So
it doesn't go well. There you go.
I don't know where they get that.
More wealthy Americans are skipping home ownership and renting instead, especially in the Sunbelt cities that exploded in popularity during the pandemic. It says affluent renters have become more common in the 35 to 50 of the most populous U.S. metros since 2019, with Raleigh and Orlando seeing the biggest upticks.
Yeah, I mean,
is this something?
Look, if you have money to burn, I mean, spending $20,000 a month on a lease, I guess, is no big deal to some people. But the reality is, I mean, we just had one. Is a pretty. It was almost a $1.5 million house, and they're leasing it, and they're with the idea that they qualify. The time the reason they're leasing is because they can't qualify for a mortgage. Okay. That for whatever reason they're not there. They make good money, but they can't show it or they don't show it. So they'll do a lease and say, well, in a year I'll do my taxes, then I'll be able to buy it. And if they don't do that, I mean, they're just throwing money out of the way. They're paying almost $8,000 a month. And then at the end of it, you can't write that money off, right?
Right.
You don't own the house. Most likely it's gone up a little bit, if not, even if it dropped a little bit. I don't see how the benefits there. I guess maybe if, you say, well, if you're month to month and you decide you don't want to be there anymore and you leave, or you only have 6 months and you'll be out, maybe that the convenience part. But even then, you should be able to sell it and make a little bit, and then the write-offs are worth it alone, I would think.
Well, if I was getting, I can think of a real good reason to rent is if I got transferred, right, and all of a sudden I'm moving to North Carolina, I'm going to move to Charlotte, right? I know nothing about Charlotte. I don't know what the areas are there. Now you can call and you can ask realtors, or if you ask some people. But you don't really know a place until you're there for a while.
Yeah.
So I could see getting a 6-month rent lease or even a year lease and just trying to get a lay of the land, figure out where you're going to be, with areas you like, which and that sort of thing, rather than just jump into something and then regretting it and being like, why did I move here? It's like people that get a job in Phoenix and it's like, oh, it's only 15 miles away to live in Maricopa.
Yes. It doesn't seem like that's far.
But it's an hour drive.
Yes.
It's like, okay, I shouldn't have bought a house in Maricopa.
Yeah.
It's nice out there. It's it's beautiful.
But the commute is too much.
It's expensive, but it's there's one way in and one way out for the most part. And so it's, I could see wanting to do something like that.
Well, the other option is, maybe it's you putting it under your business. So if it's a business account and you're leasing it, you have other ways to write that off. And yeah, I mean, what it's saying there is that the investment. So basically, you only have to put down 15-20%, and then you're going to pay the mortgage, which is probably going to be about what you're paying in a lease. So I really don't know.
I think the main thing they were saying is that it said the desire for flexibility in their lifestyle for these people who are doing the renting. They said that they just wanted more options available, and I think that right now there's a premium being put on that ability just to do whatever you want. Doug, we deal with that all the time.
Options is my specialty.
It's exactly why you make the money you do, because you're able to figure out the solutions to these problems. And I think that this gives people a little bit more room to do that. I think that they're selling themselves short for the future.
It's an opportunity cost. That's exactly it.
That's it.
You're trading basically equity and future equity for immediate gratification and, well, I don't even know if you can call it gratification, immediate flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pay for repairs, right?
That's true.
If the house needs some work.
Sometimes neither do the landlords.
That's true.
It's not going to say.
But you can move out and not worry about
Important
it.
to get a good landlord. Unfortunately, you can't Google that. A lot of times. But,
well, I just wondered, we also see a lot with kids not wanting to get their licenses lately, you know what I mean, and things like that. A lot of stuff that we just took for granted as normal stuff, they're not interested in the way we were.
Well, they got the internet at home. Why do they need a car to leave?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff that you'd like to do in person and not on the internet.
That is a phenomenon, because I hear that from a lot of my friends where their kids have no interest in driving.
None.
They turn 16 and it's like, no, they don't want to. They're scared to drive.
Yes.
I couldn't wait. Like I was at 15 trying to go get my, you could get at 15 and a half, I think you can get your learning
permit. Yeah.
My mom wouldn't let me because I was grounded.
You sound like
I got a
Mystery
D
and
in mathematics, and because I never went. I hated my teacher. I don't remember his name, but he was a really bad
And now
teacher.
you do math every day.
I was in New York.
In New York.
And boy, he had a voice like this. That literally was his voice. And he was just I did not like him.
I understand.
You want to throw a name out there and really put him underneath?
I don't remember. I'd say.
Oh, you would?
Because he was in New York anyway. And it was 30-something years ago. He's probably not with us anymore. But yeah, he was. So if he's not, I'm sorry if I'm talking about him. But he was, yeah.
So you got a D and you didn't
voice,
get?
I couldn't stand hearing that voice every day.
So this was in New York. So then you left your junior year, like right around 16 then?
Yeah, I moved out here. It was 87. It was August of 87, so I was 16.
Wow.
So did he have a thick accent back in the day? New York?
not really.
Nothing like that.
Not really. That's more like in Brooklyn and the city parts, Bronx and whatnot.
Yeah.
I was.
You're from the normal area?
40 minutes north of the city. It wasn't too
White
too
Plains,
bad.
right?
It's definitely gotten. Well, that's not true. I remember first I got called on in class, and I answered, and everybody's head turned around like, "What in the world is that kid?" You know.
Do you have a quota?
You still hear it in certain words. Yeah, like water or coffee. Or hot dog.
Dog.
Yeah. But for the most part, back in New York, to get a sub sandwich, you either got, you say turkey on a roll or a turkey wedge. Well, wedge is just a sub roll, and they just had it in that part of New York. It was just called a wedge.
Yeah.
And so I'll have a turkey wedge, which was a sub roll. And so I came, I never knew anything different. So I walked into, I think it was Bash's, and they went up to the deli counter, and they made sandwiches there. And I said, I'll have a turkey wedge, and the lady looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah, because you are.
And they're like,
asking for a wedge out here.
Like, we don't have those. I go, you don't? I'm looking at them. She's like, what are you talking about? She goes, we don't have turkey wedges here. I go, wedge, a turkey wedge. So, I have no idea. We don't sell those. And I'm pointing. I'm like, the wedge is
You're
right
pointing
there.
at the
And
bread.
she's looking behind me. She's like, you mean the rolls? I'm like, no, I don't want a roll. I want a wedge. Literally, it was. I knew no different. I had no idea.
Speaking Greek to these people.
What is wrong with this lady? Like, what is? And she's looking at me like I'm a nut.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, the sub roll over there. She goes, oh, then say sub roll. I'm like, yeah, wedge. I don't know what that term means. Then I found out. Yeah, wedge is just that part of New York.
That's what you get on the salad,
wasn't
isn't it?
And wasn't back New York denim was in? So you're wearing your denim, or not denim, what was it? Corduroy.
Corduroys.
You're wearing your corduroys, and that wasn't big back
man.
here. No,
Yeah,
it's too hot
my
out here.
corduroys to the point where the corduroy was gone, and you just had the smooth surface.
I just remember that rub. As when you
Yeah,
walk.
that was a rub.
Yeah. Yeah, see, check this out. I'm looking at another article right here. Gen Z and millennial homeownership rates flatlined in 2024 as housing costs soared. They're saying that costs are stopping people from doing the renting too, but I still come back to the Gen Z and millennial thing. It's a lot of those people aren't interested in having houses.
Well, I think it's the price. I think that they just can't afford
Affordability,
it.
yeah.
I think a lot of them would love to have a house, and they're just. Let's just say this: the motivation of maybe the other generation isn't the same as what we had. I mean, we strive to drive, get a car,
Escape
get
our
a
parents.
house.
As a whole, there's
As a whole, there's exceptions, but mostly
there's a lot of exceptions to that statement. But there's just we just hired a guy, Simon, just coming on. In fact, maybe we'll have him on the show next week. Mm-hmm. Was he 23 years old?
Yes.
23 years old. He bought his first house at 19 years old.
I know. I helped him get it.
He bought his first house at 19 years old. Saved how much did he save?
Dude, listen. He saved $30,000.
$30,000 he saved by 19 years old to go and buy a house.
But
and it wasn't a cheap house. It was
he's
like
$100%
house
the exception. Yeah, it was $500,000 house.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for putting up with us again here. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, Twitter, and TikTok. Doug Hopkins Real Estate. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. It's been should be a good one. Enjoy it because you know what's coming. It's coming. Anyway, have a great one, and as always, happy investing.